All right, so now we are on example 4, and it looks and feels just like example 2, but what we don't have is a pretty picture to go along with this. So let me just throw a little circle over here to the side and kind of show you what they've given to us. It says write the equation of a circle with the center at 5, 4. So we'll just put a point here and call that 5, 4. And then they're telling us that the circle passes through the point -3, 3. And what that means is that's a point on the circle, and that may not be perfect or pretty or to scale, but that gives you a flavor of what's going on. So we've again got a radius going between the point on the circle to the center. So we're back to determining the radius using the distance formula. So over here in the margin, I'm going to do like I've done in the past. We've got our center at 5, 4, and we'll need to determine our radius by using the distance formula that we know so well. So we've got 5 minus a -3 squared plus 4 minus 3 squared. And when I do that work in my calculator, I'm going to come up with, again, I'm looking for 4 points beyond the decimal to help us with accuracy. This turns into 8.0623. And again, this is like trig. We are making sure that we have a good solid accuracy on our hands. So I'm going back to my happy little equation, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared, and we're going to do some substitution. The h value again is the x coordinate for the center, so we have x minus 5 squared plus y, and we've got again our k value is the y coordinate of the center. In this case it's just 4, so y minus 4 squared is equal to the radius squared. So again, our radius, it's kind of gnarly, but 8.0623 squared. And there's nothing to really pretty up over here on the left-hand side. We'll just bring all this information back down one line like we like to do in math. I'm kind of playing algebra a little bit. When I square that number, what I'm going to get is straight up 65. You'll get 65.000, something like that. So we'll just round that to 65, and that would be the equation of the circle for the information shown. You've got a u-try associated with that. This graph over here on the left-hand side goes with the next example, so just hang tight on that. Go ahead and do the u-try, pause the video, and then check your work. And you should have come up with x squared plus y squared is equal to 29. After you pretty up everything, again, the x, the h comma k here is 0, 0, so they just walk away from us, and we turn out this particular equation. All right, let's move on to number 5. I'm going to leave this graph up here. Let me shrink this down a little bit. I'm going to leave this graph up here for us and show us example 5. So here we are now moving into sort of backtracking. This situation says that the equation of a circle is as shown, x squared plus y plus 4 squared is equal to 4. What is the center point and the radius? So we've got to figure out those two things where they've given us those, or we've been able to use the distance formula to come up with the radius. Now we are trying to actually determine what they are based on the formula, or rather the equation given. So again, back to our equation, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. And what I'm going to do is, based on the equation given, I'm going to write the information about my x side, right? Normally I'd have a little x minus something here. It's just x squared. So x squared plus, we've got a y plus 4. Dump that straight underneath my y area just to kind of make everything look pretty. And then that's equal to 4. So what I know is, in order to come up with my radius over here on the right-hand side, my r squared will always be the same, okay, or equal to the number on the right-hand side. So I kind of have my own little r squared equation going on, right? R squared is equal to 4. The question, though, is the radius. Not the radius squared, but what is r? To come up with r, I need to take the square root of both sides, right? Undo that r squared. And when I do that, I come up with r is equal to 2. For my center point, Okay, remember my center is h comma k, and I need to extract that from the equation given. So again, that's h comma k. I'll just write it underneath here. Then there's a k. All right, so for my x, or rather my k coordinate, I can see that I have nothing going on. Right? I don't have any. I'm not adding or subtracting anything from my x. So just as we've done in the past or in the problems above, that tells me that my h value is nothing more than nothing, or 0. For my k value, I come over here and do some comparison. The equation says y minus k. My equation is saying y plus 4. So I've got a sign change that has occurred in, compared to the standard equation versus the equation given. When that sign change happens, what was plus 4 here becomes a negative 4 as the actual value for k. And we saw that above when we were just doing substitution into the equation. We found ourselves with a minus and negative 4. We had to change that into a positive 4. So that's important to keep in mind. And so we've answered our question. Our center point is 0, negative 4. Our radius is 2. Now I'm going to go over to my graph, and I'm going to graph this. So 0 on the x, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y. There's my center point. And now I'm going to just plot a couple of points. I'm going to do that by just walking up 2 marks above the center. I'm going to walk 2 marks to the right, 2 marks down, and 2 marks over. And I now have created a way to draw my circle as long as I kind of go through those points. Now I expect you guys are not perfect circle drawers, and you don't have this wonderful tool at your disposal like I do, which I'm going to use because otherwise my writing tool will be really gnarly looking. But you just want to kind of do your best to make your circle, okay, because you will need to be able to plot this once you extract the information on a test or a quiz. All right, so you've got a final U try to do exactly what we just did. We've got an equation of a circle given. You want to determine what the center point and the radius is, and then plot that baby over there on the left. Go ahead and pause the video and take some time to work through that. All right, so you should have found that the center of this circle is at negative 4, 7. Your radius is 3, and your picture should look something like that. If you didn't get this or you have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll give you some help.